Hey, hi folks, I'm Mike Yanessa.
Hey, we're excited about a new show on PCTV Network called Car Stories. Our show's about old car stories, new car stories, and local automobile history. Join us live every Wednesday on the PCTV Network. Hey, we're looking forward to hearing from you. Remember, it's live on PCTV. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in for another episode of Car Stories, live on PCTV. We're here tonight at the PCTV studios to bring you a guest that's going to tell us some good stories about drag racing. His name is Rich Lamont. Welcome, Rich. And also tonight on our set, we have Dan Woods from D&W Powder Coating in Boyertown, and he's going to be here tonight to help us get through this show. So thanks for tuning in. So Wheels in Motion, check us out. Our website is wheelsinmotion.biz here in Pottstown. And tonight I've asked Rich Lamont to come on the show because he goes back quite a few years in drag racing. He has a company called 422 Motorsports. So I'm going to turn the camera over to Rich, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and show us some more cool pictures of some good race cars. Rich?
Mike, thank you for inviting me.
Well, thanks for coming.
Let me start. I started track racing in 1960 at York. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that didn't even know York existed, but it actually was it was an airport, and it was very, very wide. They ran 4 cars on that track long before Bruton Smith developed it in North Carolina. And they didn't do it every week, but it was a lot of fun. But the first time, actually the second time I went there, I ran into somebody that everybody knows. Bill Jenkins was the tech guy there.
Wow.
And he hadn't really built his reputation yet, but he was a smart guy, always a smart guy. And the second week I went there, I changed carburetors on my car. It was a 60 Starliner 352, 360 horse. Ford people will know what that is. It was the 60 version of high performance super stock racing.
And when was this, Rich?
In 1960.
In 1960, how about
Yes.
that? Wow.
So I got a carburetor from a friend of mine who assured me that it was going to be better than the one I had on. I get to the track, Jenkins opens the hood, takes one look at the carburetor and says the carburetor is illegal. He says, but you know what, I'm going to let you run because the car is not going to go as fast with that carburetor as you had on last week.
And he's a Chevy guy.
Oh,
and
he's a
telling
Chevy
you how
guy.
to make your Ford run.
But he knew carburetors. And
Right,
he
right.
was absolutely right. Car slowed up 2/10. So
Wow.
after that night, I got rid of that carburetor and went back to my original one. I've always been kind of a door slammer guy. I know there's a lot of people love dragsters and Alders and all that, but I've always been into the super stock door slammer cars. I guess I became a Ford nut because my family drove Fords all their lives, and I was kind of in the minority even at that point, even in 1960, because there were GM cars everywhere. It was the cheap car to buy, the cheap car to build, the cheap car to run. I'm going to fast forward to 1963. I walked into the local Ford dealership in Norristown, which was Norristown Ford. My idea was to get some sponsorship. I actually walked out. They bought a car. They bought a 63.5 lightweight 427 Ford and gave it to myself and another fellow to run. And we parlayed that into a 64 Thunderbolt, which at the end of that year, when we were done with that, I bought that car.
Wow. The good old days.
Yeah, those days aren't around anymore. After 63, or after 64 actually, I ran one more year and took a couple years off. And in 68, I got a 68 Mustang Cobra Jet, which was a Ford 28 car. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with those cars. It's still pretty viable today to race. Then I went in from there to the 1970 Cobra Jet car. Wasn't really as good a car as the 68 car, but that's what we had. Mm-hmm. I was lucky enough after that, and it was luck, to get involved in a pro stock deal at WIBG Radio in Lafayette Hill. had a Maverick that we had a Boss 429 in. A lot of work, tough car to get to run really good, but we suffered through about a year and a half of that and became friends with Roger Penske, who at the time was running AMC cars, and got a deal with American Motors for a Pro Stock Gremlin, which we ran a couple years. After the Gremlin, I was married then, and it was time to settle down, so I took a few years off, quite a few years off. And in '94, I got my Thunderbolt back out and redid the car. And of course, the concept was that I was just going to have some fun with it. And fun turned into 4 cars later, a tractor trailer, a team, 422 Motorsports. And then we started traveling and running different circuits that were around. Of course, I was truthfully only interested in nostalgia superstock cars. Most of the circuits had 6 or 8 other classes, from just bracket cars to pro street cars. Pro street cars were fast, there's no question. But that lasted about 5 years, I guess, maybe 6 years. And the last sanctioning body we were with was the National Streetcar Association, and Tony DePilla had that. And he was struggling financially because it's tough to get series sponsors. It takes a lot of money, and it's just tough. And the year that he finished, he was funding it out of his pocket, I'd say halfway through the year, and he could not get a sponsor to fund it for the following year. So now we've got all these cars. We've got some Ford races we were doing because we had Fords. But I was looking for a place that we could continue on with Nostalgia Superstock. Couldn't find anything. So I decided, well, we'll start a series our own. And we started 427 All-Stars. Now, I got the 427 All-Stars, and I'll back up a little bit here. In '68, when we ran the Cobra Jet, NHRA's Division I had a superstock circuit. Of course, it wasn't nostalgia. In '68, they were present cars.
Right.
You know, and that was called the Division I All-Star Circuit. So I kind of stole the name and just put 422 in front of it. A lot of people ask me how all that came about, and that's the story on that.
And when was that? What year are we talking that you started?
That was in '68 and '69.
Okay, now fast forward to what year?
Fast forward to 2000 and about 5 or 6.
Okay, so that's when you started this.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's when we started, our own circuit.
Your own circuit.
We struggled the first year till we got some people, because the ideal situation is to actually have about 32 cars, have a good 4-round eliminator.
Right.
And we had 4 of our own right from the start. Then we had some other friends that had Fords. By about 2 years later, we were in the 20s, and it was a viable situation where we went out and got some sponsors. We got Sunoco Race Fuels for one, Lucas Oil another one, Mickey Thompson Tires. So when you put it all together, we started to have a good series. Then we could get tracks that would take us. I mean, they really don't want just plain bracket cars, So this was a nostalgia series. That's why one of my rules was the cars have to be lettered. I wanted to get away from that street car image because, anybody pulls up with anything, nothing on the car. I understand some of them go really fast, but they've got nitrous or whatever power adder they can come up with. But we don't have any power adders at all. Cars have to be, 60 to 69, period correct. The motors have to be, we did modify it later on, but originally you had to have FEs and Fords, you had to have 409s in the 409 cars. Same with the Mopars. The Barracudas had to have a Hemi in them because in '68 that was the deal,
So no superchargers, no turbochargers, no nitrous.
No power adders
So
at all.
naturally aspirated,
Naturally
big
aspirated,
blocks.
yeah.
Cool.
And we were looking for cars with dual 4s on. Well, they still, a lot of the cars in the series do have dual quads on, but there were certain cars that didn't have it originally to begin with. And So we had to relent on that rule. And then we kind of allowed some of the cars that should have dual fours on run with a 4-barrel. But at this point in time, we've got cars that run from 12 flat. Quickest legal car we have two, a Pontiac and a Falcon. They'll run 820s. They'll both run over 160 miles an hour. But it's tough for those guys because if they have to run, say, 1150 car, they've got to sit there a long time. Everything is indexed, you know, in 1/10 segments. So you qualify, and if you, just for a number, if you run 1005, you've either got to pick 10 flat or 1010, you know.
Oh, that's cool. That's a neat way to do it.
That's, you know, that's the way. When we were with NSCA, they had 2500s. So if, you know, you would really get caught in the middle on some of those things. If you could only run 1015, now you're stuck with either going with 1025 or 10 flat. So we did close that up to make it easier and better, and it's better racing. I also changed the lights from a 5/10 to a 4/10. Got a lot of complaints in the beginning, but we really cut down on red lights. I've got this feeling, it's my theory, that people want to see the cars race. They don't want to see the race over on the starting line. It's just, and with red lights, that's what you have, you know. So, and that, like I say, we've got some negative thoughts in the beginning, but everybody seems to be
Get used to it, yeah.
They do. They seem to be fine with it now.
That's good.
After you're running on a 4/10 tree, then you go back to a 5/10 tree, it's very hard.
Oh, it
It's
is for the driver. It is for the driver. Yeah, now that you mentioned, I have a guy that was with us for about 4 years, and he got away from him, and now he's got a small block Ford that he's running on a 5/10 tree. He called me up today, as a matter of fact, tell me how hard it is to make the transition. Says, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
you
you
can
get
do
used to it. Yeah, yeah.
You can do it.
Good, that's
We
great.
travel to 9 different tracks. We count 8 of the races. We have a points fund for the winner at the end of the year, $4,000 for the points winner, and then $1,000 for runner-up. Individual races pay $1,500 for a winner and $750 for runner-up.
That's really a good payout.
Yeah, you won't find that anywhere.
No.
We also
Maybe
get,
I better put the big block out back in the Camaro. Huh?
also get $40 per round. If you win a round, you get $40.
That's terrific. Yeah.
If you qualify number 1, you get $150.
Yeah.
Makes me want to go racing again.
Oh, you better believe it.
But you do have to win. You have to win one round. I kind of feel if you can't win the first round, you really don't deserve anything.
right. Yeah.
You don't deserve anything. But do you have one of the pictures?
Yeah, Rich brought some pictures tonight of some of the cars that run.
Now
There you go.
there's a 64 Galaxy with a 427 in. That car runs it'll run 970. It'll run over 140 miles an hour.
Just a regular Galaxy, no lightweight thing or
No,
anything?
it's just a regular
just a regular
standard,
two-door hardtop. Yep.
Yeah, it was a 390 4-speed car new. It wasn't even an R car. But and pretty much he hasn't lightened that car a lot. It's got an aluminum motor in, I mean, which is allowed. But outside of that, you know, he hasn't torn the car apart.
Stick or automatic? Or?
No, it's a 4-speed.
4-speed. Oh
Yeah,
boy, that's neat.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd say about 25% of the cars that run are 4-speed cars.
And that's neat. That's what they were years ago. They all were 4-speeds. Then you know the automatics took over because they were more consistent. And they didn't break parts and.
Yeah,
But,
back in the
yeah.
mid 60s, 63, 64, the only automatic cars were the Mopars.
Oh really?
With the there was very few Mopars that had a 4-speed in, but all the Chevys, all the Fords, all the
yeah,
Pontiacs,
right.
they were all 4-speed cars. But the Mopars, when they came out with the 727, it just made bad drivers into decent drivers.
right. Oh, what do we got there?
That's last year's champion, Kevin Grossen. He's probably the youngest driver that we have. He was an engineering student. And,
63? Am I close?
yeah, 63.
Okay.
And it's just a 420. It's a 426 it's not a Hemi. It's just a Cross Ram. But he's consistent. He's very good on the lights. He's a tough racer. I mean, for guys to come out, there's a lot of guys that have been doing it a long time, a lot longer than he has. But he's tough. He's very good. So
Cool. Oh boy, look at that one.
Leo Sokolsky, that 63 Galaxy, not a lightweight car, that's an automatic car.
Wow.
Has a C4 in it. Leo, he ran, matter of fact, down there, he ran the best he's ever run. He went a 9:39 down there. And that's another car that's not, didn't go on a diet to the extent that it could go on a diet.
Well, I mean, the cars you're showing are big cars that aren't real lightweight, and they're flying. And remember, no nitrous, no buttons. It's just motor.
It's all motor.
That's
Absolutely
really,
all
that's
motor.
impressive to go that
And that's
fast.
an FE in that. Anybody that knows anything about FEs, it's not the first engine you'd pick to go racing with. You know, I mean, parts are hard to get for them, and they're expensive for that car.
And that's your thing, though, right? I
Oh,
mean,
that's my thing.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's what
my
Rich
thing.
does, right?
So
I knew we'd get a Chevy in there
there you
somewhere.
go. There's a 409 car.
69 or 62 bubble top, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
He's new this year. He ran with us once last year. I think he actually ran at York last year with us.
What's his name? Do you remember?
Lou Terra.
No. Okay, there was one that raced years ago with Esta, something like that.
Yeah.
He's from Bloomsburg.
Yeah.
That's a neat car.
Has a speed shop in Bloomsburg.
Yeah. He's an older gentleman. Like I said, most of the people are over 50, but there are some young guys in there.
That's cool. What's that one there?
69 Chevy.
A big car.
Yeah, that's a big car.
Big Impala. I can see it now.
That's a single 4-barrel 427 car.
Cool.
Chet's a very good driver. Good on the tree, good driver. Now that is a Hemi car right there.
A real one or?
No, it's a
No,
clone.
just
It's a clone.
It's a Hemi Barracuda.
But it is a Hemi car.
68.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a clone Soxon Martin.
Oh, okay.
Hemi
Now I can see the
Barracuda.
red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Wow, that thing leaves really good.
The driver of that car is Dave Collette. He's got a trucking business, towing business down in Maryland. He weighs, he goes 400 plus. Big
Oh,
man.
my.
Big man. But he's,
975 on the window.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
moving.
yeah, that car, that car will go, it'll go quicker than that. And probably did down there that day. We were down at MIR, and the track was great. Royce had the track prepared fantastic. The weather was a little iffy, but it was good enough to go fast, and most of the guys did. That's a clone of Don Nicholson's coupe, the one he set the national record with back in '64. It's got mechanical fuel injection. We do allow mechanical fuel injection, not electronic. So for aesthetics, he likes to run the mechanical fuel injection.
Yeah, that's cool too.
He had a fairly good day, and then he got an oil leak. He went 875, 875, 876 on 3 runs. So he was right there with the ETs. That's one of my old cars. I had a camera in that car, but that's got a wedge in it now. And Stevie Vargo runs real good. The car runs 950. It'll run 950 all day long. He had to take a couple years off. He was raising a couple boys, baseball, soccer, you name it. But he's
right.
He's back with us now. It's just the other thing that we do. We serve lunch for the guys. I'm trying to do kind of a family thing. Kind of have some fun. It's not just racing. Trying to build some camaraderie between the guys, which I think we have. Dan can speak to that.
Absolutely.
Dan always tells me what a great time you guys have. And I'm finding more of the details now, and I can see how it really must be. It really works, and it's really a fun day at the track.
It
you
is.
know, with your friends, and the camaraderie, like you say, is important.
Everybody is willing to help out.
Nice.
If a car breaks or there's any kind of a problem, and there's no animosity. Whatever, they'll help out.
Right.
But naturally,
It
when
should
they
be.
line up,
It's
they're
all
they're
on.
enemies for
Right.
9, 10, 11 seconds,
Right.
whatever it is.
Till we get to the other end.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really a neat program.
Now that's the Falcon I was telling you about. He's going 823, 163. That car's fast. Now it's a stick shift car with a wedge, no power adders. It's just
Now, when you say wedge, what do you got to help me with that? I know they have Mopar wedges, but what do you mean
well,
by
it's
a
an
wedge?
inline valve engine. You know,
Ford.
Oh, it has to be a Ford. Yes, a 427
7.
inline valve wedge engine.
Okay.
Well, Ford makes the Camry. You could use the Camry.
I know what a camera is, but I didn't never
Yeah.
heard Ford and wedge.
Well,
That's okay.
yeah. Some people, the distinction is that it's not a Camry. You know, that's
Oh, okay. I
so
gotcha.
you say wedge,
Wedge.
You know what it is.
Okay.
It's a dual carbureted.
That's
I don't
cool.
allow Dominators either, which is a sore spot in some people's world. But Dominators weren't around in the '60s, and I'm just not into the Dominator thing.
Yeah.
There's 4150 carburetors that are up to 1,000 CFM that'll do everything
Right.
that you need them to do.
Right. Well, you have to have some rules when you're doing this because it is a nostalgia event. If you start, then it becomes not a cool thing. It's cool to see the fuel injection, the stick shifts, and the stuff
Yeah.
that they really used.
Well,
back
that's
then.
what people like to see, and they
Yep.
come around in the downtime. They come down and visit, and look at the cars and take a lot of pictures. Ton of pictures taken of our cars.
Great.
Oh, there you go.
Who's that guy?
Now there's Dan's car.
That's
a
Dan,
very,
that's here.
very well done car.
That's here tonight. That's Dan's, 68?
68 Mustang, yep.
Yep.
428 car, single 4-barrel, and it runs real well. You want to say anything, Dan? You got?
Well, I built the car, I guess it's been 15 or 16 years ago when
Well, I
finished
remember
it.
when you were on the street with it,
Yeah.
and then it kind of transformed
And
into
I'll tell you what, I'm having more fun with that car now
Right.
than I ever have.
Nice. It looks good.
We have a ball.
That's good.
I'll say one thing. Anywhere you go, people are all over it.
Right, right. And
We
what,
have fun.
427, 428,
It's a 428.
4-speed,
It's actually a C4.
C4.
Yeah, it was originally, that car was a 390 car with a 4-speed, and I took it to Pink's All Out at Maple Grove in 2010 and changed it over from the, actually it was a Tremec 5-speed at that time, and changed it to the C4. And Dink Bishop and Fred Henderson have been on me for a long time to come out and race with these guys, so we went racing like 3 weeks later, and
You've been bit ever since.
that's right. As I think Freddie has said, Fred Henderson has said, is we couldn't get him in, now we can't get rid of him.
Get rid of it, right. That's good. That's good. That's real good. Cool.
We like I said, at the end of the year, we have a points champion.
64 Plymouth. Am I close? 3 or 4?
Yeah, 4. I don't know who's
Yeah.
car. Oh,
That's
is that
Bob Fort's.
That's Bob Fort's car.
That's
Okay.
about four.
Yeah, he's the lone member of 422 Motorsports. It's a Mopar, but he's a good friend. He's there all the time.
That's neat.
He does a lot of video work for us. We have a banquet at the end of the year, which everybody really enjoys coming to.
Ford Fairlane.
Yeah, that's Paul Hilliard. Paul runs Pro Stick with the car also, but he comes to all our events. He's got a alarm company, and he's very hard on cars, but he loves racing. He loves doing it,
Absolutely.
and he does a heck of a job. There's a man who's that's the old Bob Banning car,
Wow.
but that man is 83 years old.
Wow.
And he won one of our events last year at ATCO, and he couldn't have been happier. He and his wife, she's with him all the time. He still cuts decent lights. He's a kick.
That's neat. That's cool to still be doing that.
That's the car that he drove back in the day, too.
And he still
Yeah.
has it. Wow.
Yep.
But anybody that's interested should go to 422allstars.com.
Yep.
The schedule's on there. There's a gallery of pictures. There's hundreds of pictures on there. You can get to meet some of the people that run the organization. And if you have any questions, you can.
And one more thing before we go is tell them where your shop's at. 422, of course.
422 Motorsports is in Oaks, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
which is right on 422, hence the name.
Right.
So which is just a stone's throw from Valley Forge Park for people that wouldn't know where Oaks is.
So if you got a Ford, or even if you have any other kind of car and you want to go racing, check out their website, check out their shop in Oaks, and you know.
The shop in Oaks is there where the Philadelphia Expo Center is.
Right, right.
It's in that
Yes.
center.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we accept everybody. We got Olds's, Pontiacs, you know, Ford,
Anything that-
Chevys,
yeah, that's nostalgic. And
Mopars, you name it.
I got some dates here I'm going to go over, as we're running low on time already. It goes so fast. The York Reunion is July 12th and 13th. Eastwood is also that same weekend. It's a street rider. They meet there at Eastwood on July 13th, and they go to Syracuse, New York. And then the York Reunion race at Beaver Springs is on July 14th.
Got to go to that one.
That's a busy weekend.
Got to go to that one. We had 60 super stock cars there last year.
And that's what these guys are all about, the super stock cars. Beaver Bob's a great guy. He has events throughout the summer that are really cool. So again, go to Beaver Springs website and check them out. Go to 422's website, check out their schedule. So if you got a free weekend or a free day this summer, you can do some of these cool things. Drag racing today is okay, but a lot of us, our heart is in the old cars and the nostalgia part of it. And so, you know, check those out. Just like Pottstown Classic Show on High Street, which is the first Saturday of every month throughout the summer. This Saturday at Gilbertsville Fire Company, May 11th from 12 to 4. There's a car show there that benefits cancer. If you got a nice car, or if you just want to come walk around and look at the cars, stop over there. 422 All-Stars will be at Maple Grove on Saturday, Sunday, June 23rd and 22nd and 23rd. And again, 422allstars.com for more dates to look at their events and see more pictures on the website. So
Yeah, you got to come out and see us.
Dan Woods has has D&W Motorsports in Boyertown, and he does great job on powder coating and media blasting. So give him a call. Check out his website, which is
www.dwmotorsports.us.
So if you have any pieces to your hot rod, your race car, or you know, the wife's favorite chair, Dan powder coats anything, a bunch of colors. He does a great job. And Dan is going to try to give me dates each month when I do the show of the car events and car things happening, and keep us up to date, because a lot of times we miss this stuff, like the York Reunion race. I've never been there, and I should be there every year. That's right up my alley, but I missed the date, or I have something else to do. So I want to thank Rich and Dan for coming here tonight and making Car Stories another great show. Rich, I enjoyed everything, learned a lot. Dan, thank you very much for bringing Rich here and helping out. And if you didn't see the show tonight, you know, watch it on the internet, tell your friends. This summer we have great guests all summer coming to Car Stories live on PCTV. We record the second Wednesday of each month, and then it's rerun throughout that month. So check us out on the web at ThePCTVNetwork, and you can see some of the old episodes. And if you need anything done to your car, call Wheels in Motion right here in Pottstown. So thanks for tuning in tonight. We're running out of time, so I'm going to say goodbye, and thanks for watching Car Stories.